Hey YouTube, Yugioh Blaze here, and today I'm bringing you another deck profile, but I'm not going to be doing it today. It'll be my friend, and he's going to be showing his macro rabbits. So go ahead and get started.
Hey YouTube, so yeah, like Yugioh Blaze said, this is my macro rabbit deck. I'm just kind of going to try to do this quickly because we tried to do it earlier, but our voices got all fucked up. So just some explanation of the deck. I've only entered one tournament with it, and I topped 2. Round 1 I got Inzectors and I 2-0'd them. Round 2, 2-0'd Zombies. Round 3 got 2-0'd by Dark Worlds because Game 1 I just opened Kabazults and like no other monsters. Game 2 opened 2 Guaiba. I just hit a terrible opening hand. Then went straight to top 4 and I won by 2-1ing a Madolche player. So let's just get straight into the deck. First up, 2 rabbits, pretty self-explanatory. This is a macro rabbit deck. Just fish out your dinos and proceed to overlay. So with your rabbits, you then need your 3 Sabersaurus and your 3 Kabazools. I don't mind topping into Sabersaurus so much just because the deck plays such a strong back row that Sabersaurus can just do generic beatdown, whereas Kabazools just isn't so strong in my opinion. Can't really stand on his own for very long, so I don't like really using him. Then to continue with the Dino Engine, we have 3 Guaibas. Because Macro's been hit to 2, Guaiba is just a really good card now. Especially because this deck is playing 3 Lance. He can hit over so much stuff. He can hit over T-Kings, which he's allowed to play at my tournament, and just other stuff. And it's just another way to go into Xyz. Next up is 2 Tour Guides. I really like Tour Guide in this deck because it's not just used for Xyz. It has a lot of purposes. You can get the Sangen, which will get your rabbit. If you really need to, you can just go into Zenmanas and attempt to stall them out. Or, definitely my favorite thing to do with it, as so many people do, is to bring that out while you've already got a Dulka or a Logia out. Go into Leviair, bring back your rabbit, and pretty much just proceed to go ham by going into another dino and trolling your opponent. When Sangan just fishes out your rabbit. This is a macro rabbit deck, so Sangan is kind of hit sometimes. He's not quite as good, but most of the time he's a really good card. He usually does get sided out for a 3rd macro, but still a really good card. Next up, 2 T-Kings. A lot of rabbit players will run Spirit Reaper or Snowman Eater over him, but I still like him. Even though macro does hurt him, he's still a really stunny card. Always prevents searches, and decks like Mermills and Spellbooks in this format search a lot, so he's a really good card. Then last up is 1 Night Assailant, just good for popping, and he is also kind of like another Snowman Eater. He pops, and his last function for the deck is that he is just another Tour Guide target, so just a good card. That's it for monsters, so moving on to spells. 3 Forbidden Lance, because your opponent will try to book, torrential, compulse your rabbit. You really want it protected. If you lance it, pretty much all they can then hit your rabbit with is a Solemn. However, if they do not hit your rabbit and you banish and you get your 2 monsters, they can then bottomless both of them. You can only lance 1, so yeah, balls for you. That does kind of suck, but that's kind of the deck's only big drawbacks. After that, 3 MST just to continue with the back row hate. Again, really got to protect your monsters so you can go off well. Then 1 Mind Control, you can take their monster, again, something like a T-King, which sees a lot of play at my locals, and overlay into it. You can just take a set card if you're attempting to punch for game. Take a monster, target a monster like Spirit Reaper and just kill it. Game 2 against the zombie player was really funny because my macro had him shut down, and he was literally just stalling me out on a Spirit Reaper. I went Poply Imperative, but he just Fiendish chained it, so I got it in the end, but it just ended up being this long stall fest. I believe we actually went into time, and I won maybe a turn later, but it really just... It was kind of funny, to be honest, in the end. I was just waiting to top into that Mind Control, or an MST. 1 Book of Moon, staple, Monster Reborn, staple, and then Heavy Storm and Dark Hole, both staples. That's it for spells. Moving on to traps. 2 Macrocosmos, because this is Macro Rabbit. It does hit a few of your cards, like I said, but Macro is just so good in this format. Hits so many meta decks, really useful. Yeah, really, no need to go into any further explanation. Next up is your Solemn Brigade, just to negate monsters and other funds and whatnots, because negating is good. 2 Mirror Force. Mirror Force isn't quite as helpful in this format, just because most of the really good cards do what they do before they attack, such as Priestess. But still, it really is a good card. You can protect your monsters, so yeah, play a Mirror Force. 2 Bottomless, hit Xyz, hit Synchros, hit T-Kings, hit pretty much a lot of good shit with it, just a good card. 2 Torrentials, good against wind-ups, just nukes the field, sets it back. And then 2 Compulsories, because Xyz just get destroyed by them. Zenmaina's, in particular, Zenmaina's Mace Stroke, even Gachi Gachi, hits cards like those and is all around just really good in this format. So that's it for the main deck. Moving on to the extra deck. I go 3 Logia. 3... I do like 3. I usually go 2. I've only had to go 3 once, and sometimes I'll just go 1. But it is really just this good feeling of being safe to just know you have the 3rd. Just another negate in the deck, because this deck really just wants to stun, to be honest. Then 2 Dulkas, again just to stun, hits monster effects. Pretty good card. And then just another thing for your dinosaurs to go into. 1 Utopia, because he's all around just a good Xyz monster. 1 Utopia Ray to go over your Utopia. 1 Gem Knight just to hit over those obnoxious 2500s. 1 Poply Imperative, because that does hit over Spirit Reapers, and if they're just trying to stall you out, whatever they're trying to use, if it's a monster, it can hit over that. 1 Shockmaster, just a staple card in most side decks now, can neutralize back row or monster effects. 1 Leviair, because Leviair really can just win you games sometimes, just to bring back that rabbit and go into the extra dinosaur. And after that, he's still just an 1800 beater, which isn't the best in the world, but when you've got, you know, a Dulka or a Logia, or 2 Logias out, or whatever your field is after you've brought him out, it's always just something good, because he can usually hit for another 800. 1 Leviathan, another staple Xyz, can just be a 2500 beat stick if you want him to be. Nothing really too amazing about him, though. 1 Acid Golem usually will just crash into BLSs, but a good card to have in your back pocket, even though he is kind of bad in a sense. Then 1 Zenmaina is just because it's really stally, pops stuff, your opponent thinks twice sometimes before attacking into it, can just buy you time. So that's it for the extra deck. Moving on to the sideboard. You side the 3rd Macrocosmos, because Macro does hit so much. I sided the Macrocosmos in every game I played. Really great card. 3D Fissures. A lot of decks don't like to run the 3D Fissures. Truthfully, I love it, because in a way it is like a second Macro. Not quite as good, but it can duplicate some of the effects that Macro does use. 3 Shadow Imprisoning, because Dark does see a lot of play, at least at my locals. Dark decks see a lot of play, so it can really just hit those. 2 Prohibition, just because in decks like Spellbooks, like Dark Worlds, that center around having 1 boss monster, if you Prohibition that really does hurt the deck a lot. Then 2 Effect Veilers, which I will side in if the deck is not hit by Macro at all. I'll side out the 2 Macros, put in the Veilers, because Veiler tends to be pretty helpful in a lot of situations. 1 Maxi, again, I'll just side that out, or side that in if I'm taking the Macros out. 1 Gores, and 2 Snowman Eater. So, that's my extra deck and pretty much the entire deck in general. If I had to give this deck a rating on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give it an 8. Just because it's a really great deck. Stuns a lot, hurts a lot, great beatdown, but just those hands when I've topped into a lot of Sabersaurus and Cobzels, which you do get, not frequently, but when you're playing this deck, it is definitely a threat to hit to you. If you hit that in an opening hand, the game kind of tends to be rough. All around, really good deck. I love playing it, and I hope to be entering more tournaments with it. So, thanks YouTube, tell me what you think.